Hey everybody, Joey Hodgin here, talking to you today from my office here in Rocky Mount. For those of you who don't know me, I am going to be starting a series of videos that you can find here on my personal Facebook page, which will then later be stored not only on my Facebook page, but on Henson Fuerst Facebook page. So the majority of you out there know me, but for those of you who don't know me, again, my name is Joey Hodgin. I'm an attorney here at Henson Fuerst, and as of February next year, I will have been here 15 years, believe it or not. I am one of the personal injury attorneys here at the firm, and specifically, I practice in the area of workers' compensation. So again, the purpose of these videos is for you all to get a little bit of insight into my world here at the firm. I'm going to be talking a little bit about me personally, and at some point just showing you around the office. As I said, I work primarily out of the Rocky Mount office, but like all the other lawyers here in the firm, I'm back and forth in between both of the offices, and we'll actually be headed to Raleigh later today for a meet and greet affair we're having in downtown Raleigh that, again, the firm is hosting. But again, I've been here for 15 years. I manage the firm's workers' compensation practice. And so I wanted to start off with just talking in general about what workers' compensation is, because if you've never had a workers' comp claim and you're somebody who has been in the workforce a lot of years, I find that there's just a lot of misinformation out there. You have people maybe at your job, there are people in your family, friends that will try to tell you what workers' compensation is, what you're entitled to, and how it works, and frankly, a lot of it out there just isn't true. So I want to start with today's video just again talking about a question I get a lot from people, which is if you're on the job, if you're doing your job and an injury happens, does that automatically mean that you're eligible for benefits under the Workers' Comp Act? And the answer is no, not always. And that's a surprising answer to a lot of people, and I understand why, because pretty much your whole life you've been told that if you're on the job, you're doing your job, and you get hurt, there's this thing called workers' compensation, which is a state-regulated or a state-mandated system of benefits that pays for your medical bills and allows you to get back to work. And the reality is that only certain types of injuries that occur on the job, pretty much your whole life you've been told that if you're on the job, you're doing your job, and you get hurt, there's this thing called workers' compensation, which is a state-regulated or a state-mandated system of benefits that pays for your medical bills and allows you to get back to work. And the reality is that only certain types of injuries that occur on the job will make you eligible for benefits under the Workers' Comp Act. And so the type of injury that you have under the Workers' Comp Act has to come about as a result of an accident. Now that's a legal term of art. And there are other ways that you can become eligible for benefits when you sustain an injury on the job in North Carolina, but the most common way is an accident by injury. So how does this all come about? What should you do when this happens? Well, an accident by injury, the legal definition is any variance of the normal work routine. So you can think about it in its most common terms: a slip, a trip, a fall, you fall off a ladder, something falls on you, an accident in the common sense of the word. An accident can also mean that you have been asked to do something outside of your job description. So if you have worked somewhere for 10 or 15 years and you've always done certain job duties, and on one particular day, your boss or your supervisor or foreman or whatever the case may be ask you to do something that's not part of your normal job routine, you get hurt doing it, you really didn't have an accident in the traditional sense, that may actually qualify you because you've done something outside of your normal work routine. So that's the general way in which you can become eligible for benefits. So it's not enough to just be on the job, just be doing your job, and you sustain an injury. The example I like to give new incoming clients all the time when we're talking about this very issue is, if I'm here in the office, if I'm walking down the hall, I just fall for no apparent reason, break my ankle. That is not an accident by injury. I would not be eligible for workers' comp benefits. If I'm walking down the hall, there's a torn place on the carpet, I trip over that torn place in the carpet, fall down, sustain the same fracture, I would be eligible for workers' compensation benefits. And I really think that example is the easiest way to understand it. In both instances, I'm in the office, I'm doing my job, I fall in both instances, I sustain the same injury in both instances, but in one, I'm eligible for benefits, and in another, I'm not. So again, think about it as, yes, you do have to be on your job, yes, you have to be doing your job, but in general, the rule is you have to sustain an actual accident to be eligible for benefits under the Workers' Comp Act. And as just a practical point, what I would encourage everyone to do is, if you're on the job and you do get hurt, and let's just say you're not sure whether or not what happened to you meets the legal definition, before you ever give a statement to the insurance company, talk to a lawyer. You may not need a lawyer in the long run. You may not even have a case, quote unquote, that would fall under the Workers' Comp Act, but at least understand your claim before you start talking to an insurance company, before you start talking to an adjuster, because you have to remember that the adjuster knows what the laws are. They know how all this works, and you're just going to be at a distinct disadvantage, and you may say some things that irreparably damage your claim. I've actually had that happen before. People on the job, well-meaning, will give that statement before they have a chance to really understand what their claim is, and they frankly respond to certain questions that they shouldn't, or they respond to other questions in a way that ends up hurting them, and sometimes by the time they come to me, it's too late. So again, if you want to come in and talk to me about a claim that you think you may have, doesn't cost you anything but your time. So come in and talk to me. If you don't want to talk to me, talk to another lawyer, but do that before you get too deep in the process. Start filing your own forms, start giving statements that may come back to harm you later. All right, guys, well, that's it for today. Again, this was just an introductory video, which, again, you can find on my Facebook page. Again, my name's Joey Hodgins, the workers' comp attorney here at Henson Fuerst. You can also find this video on Henson Fuerst Facebook page, where it will be stored. And again, as we move forward, this is just going to be very informal. It's going to be a way for you to get to know me. I'm going to try to throw a little bit of personal information in there about who I am, where I come from. But this is just an introductory video, and we'll also be talking about workers' compensation. So if any of you out there are watching these videos and you have specific questions or topics that you would like for me to go over, let me know.